Friends, we would be discussing screw compressors and screw compressors with reference to reciprocating compressors, wherein we would emphasize the advantages of the screw compressors over the reciprocating compressors. So, this is the agenda of discussion. We all agree that compressors are vital for refrigeration systems and they perform an important function of maintaining the pressure difference between the condenser and evaporator. Traditionally, reciprocating compressors are widely used. They continue to be used, and the reason being that they are simple, they are readily available. However, of late, in some applications, reciprocating compressors are replaced by the screw compressors, and they are considered to be more reliable and efficient than the reciprocating ones. To differentiate between the two technologies, we need to understand that both these technologies, that is, the reciprocating compressor as well as the screw compressors, they happen to be positive displacement compressors, positive displacement machines. It means the pressure rise is obtained because of the reduction in the volume. Construction wise, they are different. One is reciprocating, other is rotary. Reciprocating compressors have a piston cylinder arrangement, whereas the screw compressors have two intermeshing rotors. Reciprocating compressors, they have the suction valve and the discharge valve, whereas the screw compressors do not have a suction or discharge arrangement, a valve. Reciprocating compressors, by the fact that they deliver during the delivery stroke when the discharge valve is open, the refrigerant flow is intermittent. In the screw compressors, on the other hand, one gets a continuous compression process. Important difference is the presence of more moving parts and higher wear in case of reciprocating compressors, and by the virtue of very less number of moving parts in the screw compressors, the maintenance is less, the wear and tear is lower. Because of such a simple design, screw compressors being because they are basically having only two moving parts as against the reciprocating compressors which has pistons, connecting rods, crankshafts, suction and discharge valves, piston rings and bearings, one can surely say that screw compressors are simple in design and more reliable. So the high reliability is because of presence of fewer parts. Fewer parts, so less number of failure. Uh, the lubrication system in case of screw compressors is what is known as the fully oil flooded lubrication system. What does that mean and what role it plays? It means that the compressor remains completely flooded with oil, it is full with oil, and this oil performs three critical functions. One obviously is that of lubrication, other two functions are cooling and sealing. Uh, because the lubrication or the lubricant itself performs the role of cooling because it is completely flooded, we need not go for additional cooling technique of the compressor body, and because of that overheating is prevented. And because of the fact that the entire compressor is well lubricated, completely flooded, that design itself gives us a higher service life for the bearings as well as for the rotors, and hence the maintenance requirements are dramatically reduced if we talk in comparison with reciprocating compressors. So that is the lubrication advantage for the screw compressors. Another important advantage is of temperature control because of the flooded type of lubrication system. With the oil would absorb the heat, as a result of which the discharge temperature would be lower than that which is obtained with the reciprocating compressors. And with the lower discharge temperatures, uh, the compressors would well be within the safe operational limits. A lower discharge temperature means a lower thermal stress, no oil degradation, overall improvement in the compressor life, and better performance. Uh, to quantify the advantage, let us look at the numbers. You see that screw compressors reportedly operate for 40,000 to 60,000 hours without any major overhaul. The screw compressors, they report zero wall failures because there are no walls to fail. And because there are no piston rings, there are zero piston ring wear. So this is the advantage over the reciprocating compressors. Absence of walls, so no wall failure. Absence of piston ring, so no piston ring wear and tear. And a longer operating hours without major overhaul. The other advantage is because of the fact that there is no clearance volume, and you know that we have studied this, that the reciprocating compressors have a lower volumetric efficiency because of the clearance space which has to be kept in the arrangement, and one cannot avoid the clearance space because it is a wall which is present in the reciprocating compressors. So screw compressors gets the advantage of superior volumetric efficiency because of the negligible clearance volume, and because of the absence of clearance volume, there is no question of re-expansion, because as we had discussed whenever we discussed the concept of volumetric efficiency of reciprocating compressors, you know that the volumetric efficiency is not 100% in reciprocating compressors because of the re-expansion of the charge which is trapped into the clearance volume in case of reciprocating compressors. So reciprocating compressors have a limitation of clearance volume losses. There are wall pressure drops and there is a reduced efficiency, whereas the screw compressor has a superior volumetric efficiency across the load range. So reciprocating compressors show significant efficiency loss at off design conditions, whereas for the entire range of operation, screw compressors maintain high volumetric efficiencies. This is clear from the graph also. Another important advantage of screw compressor is that in the capacity control. What happens in case of screw compressors is that there is a internal slide valve mechanism for used for the valve control. So depending upon what capacity the system has to operate, the slide valve mechanism would accordingly adjust itself. So this way one can achieve the variation in capacity from 100% to 10% using the slide valve capacity control. Unlike in case of reciprocating compressors where they keep on cycling between on and off. So this ensures that there is a continuous control, stepless capacity modulation, unlike that in the reciprocating compressors. It also ensures that there are no cycling losses, no startup surges, and that leads to a lower energy uh, wastage. Especially the slide wall control is ideal for chillers and industrial refrigeration, where you know that the cooling load varies continuously throughout the day. So, the main advantage of the screw compressor is in capacity control, as you see in this table, and the efficiency advantage is also substantial. Another important uh, integration for the screw compressor is possible, and that is with the variable speed drive. So, screw compressors can operate efficiently at variable speeds because the lubrication system is independent of the rotational speed. Electronic controls allow the speed variation smoothly, and in case of reciprocating compressors, on the other hand, you will find that if you change the speed, the lubrication quality gets affected, and also there are some mechanical limitations which restrict the speed rate. So, with the new technology which is called as VFD, variable frequency drive technology, screw compressors are ideal. They are more compatible with the VFD based technology. And that VFD based technology is now becoming common in the, in fact, mandatory across India. The third important advantage of the screw compressors is that it has an ability to handle the liquid refrigerant. Means what? In reciprocating compressors, you know that even a small liquid slug can lead to the wall damage or can break the connecting rods, and that might lead to a complete compressor failure if the liquid enters the reciprocating compressor. On the other hand, in the screw compressors, even if the liquid enters, the screw compressors can safely handle that liquid because it is a flooded compressor design which absorbs the shocks, and because there are no walls, so there is no question of wall breakup, which is the problem with the reciprocating compressors. In cold storages or during defrost cycles, the liquid flood back is common. That is, the liquid might enter the compressors. So, under such conditions, the screw compressors are advisable because the screw compressors will survive these conditions when there is a liquid flood back, whereas the reciprocating compressors often fail. The advantage of oil management in the screw compressors are given on this slide. One advantage is that the oil operates at a higher discharge pressure, and hence it eliminates the foaming risk which is otherwise present in the reciprocating compressors. The second thing is there is no oil migration problem during startup cycle. That is, the oil will not migrate to this crankcase as in the case of the reciprocating compressor. The third advantage is there is no dilution issue because you know that in reciprocating compressors, the oil dilution issue is an important problem. In case of screw compressors, the oil dilution issues are eliminated. And as we have discussed here, the lubrication system is extremely reliable, and that eliminates the oil carryover failures and startup lubrication problems. So, the advantage of screw compressors are it is a pure rotary motion, there is no unbalanced inertia forces because being it a rotary motion and with the absence of unbalanced inertia forces, the vibration levels are quite low. Even a lighter foundation for these compressors are sufficient, and that leads to a lower installation cost. On the other hand, because the reciprocating compressors experiences vibrations, we need to have a heavier foundation and vibration isolation systems. So in the installation also, you see that the reciprocating compressors have disadvantage as compared to screw compressors. The screw compressors would require a lighter foundation, and it is low cost, and it also has a lower installation and cost and less vibrations. The maintenance and skill requirements are also an advantage for screw compressors because the components are interchangeable, they can be easily replaced, the overall procedures are straightforward, the skill demanded is less. All these things are less when I are saying simple procedure, lower skills level. This when we are comparing it with the reciprocating compressors, because reciprocating compressors require skilled technicians, precision assembly, and frequent inspections that increases the operational cost also. So all in all, the screw compressors are found to be extremely reliable and low cost efficient as compared to reciprocating compressors in, and hence is are being widely being used in industrial applications.